sit there and hit the buttons. So we're videotaping it so that we can post it on YouTube so that other people can watch it. And I guess it will be all new to you though, right? That's good. We got someone. Okay. Let me know when you say action.
Oh, I mean, I'm recording.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, this presentation is designed to introduce everyone to the Suriname Potable Water Project. You may know something about it already, you may know nothing, that's fine. I'm going to start from the beginning of the project and go through many of the details that may have been glossed over. You may not understand everything exactly about the site assessment trip, what we did, who we met, who we talked to, and the outcomes of those conversations. And so I will be doing this presentation to provide that for you. However, a few people are in the room that went on the site assessment trip, so they are more than welcome to chime in anytime they feel necessary to elaborate anything. And so, just a quick geography lesson. Suriname is north of Brazil. It is in between Guyana and French Guiana. And this red arrow indicates approximately the location, it's a little south actually, approximately the location of our community that we are working with. It's about 50 miles south of the capital. So this is, we're going to talk about the project origin now. So the project began with an organization called the Suriname Indigenous Health Fund, SIHF, and this is Dan Peplow and Sarah Augustin. They are the Suriname Indigenous Health Fund. And Dan worked with the U.S. Ambassador's Office in Quakagron, Commissaris Condré, and Makikriki, the communities that we are now working with. And he worked with them for about 10 years, developing and finding ecotoxicology data in the communities. And one of his problems was that the government wasn't letting this information be shared with the community, and so he decided to begin working more intensively with the community so that they could have better control over their health information. And Dan and Sarah, through SIF, have been working with the community now for around 10 years, perhaps a bit more. And so some background on this community that Dan and Sarah have been working with. They're part of the Matawai tribe. And this tribe is the descendants of African slaves that escaped in the 1700s. And they're the people who originally, the Matawai who originally escaped were first generation essentially. So they had come over from Africa. And so they immediately settled in the interior of Suriname and began again with their traditional ways of life. The community leadership within this within these communities include both men and women. As far as their lifestyle, their subsistence, they have small plantations. They buy some goods from the local store, and they can go into some of the major cities when they need to, but it's not necessary for the most part. There is also extensive fishing in the river that is adjacent to the communities. Hydrologically, they receive about 2 meters of rain each year, and it's separated through the seasons. There's some very dry times when they receive almost no water, and there's very wet times when they receive water every day. And historically, the water that they relied upon in the dry seasons was in the river, the Suriname River, again, adjacent to the community. And so in partnership with the community and the Suriname Indigenous Health Fund, we developed an application, applied for the project, and are now working with the community directly as Engineers Without Borders. And so this is a map zoomed in using Google Earth. And this is up is north, and this is the Suriname River, this windy brown river. And right here, this is Quakagron. We can see a road going out north, and that heads to Paramaribo, the capital. Then you can take the river south, and it goes to first Commissaris Condré and Makikriki. And Quakagron and Commissaris Condré are currently the occupied communities that still have people in them that we are working with. When we visited Makikriki, it was largely abandoned, and so we haven't really been working with that entity. At the bottom, there's Midraneti Creek, and that feeds into the Saramaka River. Indraneti Creek is thought to be a source of some pollution that is polluting the river water. And so our relationship with Suriname Indigenous Health Fund now is we still work with them. We keep in contact with them, but we're trying to work as directly with the communities as we can. That way we have less miscommunication possibly, and we can just work directly with the people. And currently we're working through Guido and Kenneth. And so the site assessment trip that we went on was on August 15th and 19th in 2008. And so this is just another map of Suriname. And so, next slide. So for the 15th and 16th, we spent our time in Paramaribo. Next, we spent the 17th and 18th with the community. We spent the second half of the 18th visiting Iron Gold. And we spent the 19th again in Paramaribo. And so this is just some quick snapshots of Paramaribo. This is the, what I'm going to try and do through this is I'm going to try and explain kind of our whole experience going to Suriname so that you can have a total appreciation for what it's like there. And so we arrived, after traveling from Seattle through Trinidad and Tobago, and then arriving in Suriname in the middle of the night, we were picked up by our guide, Dave, who I'll explain in a few minutes who that is. And he drove us into the capital to this hostel. This is an image of the hostel hotel that we stayed at. And then on the 16th, we met people, representatives of the U.S. Embassy. We met Kenneth Solomon, again, who I'll introduce in a second. And we purchased additional supplies. So this is also an image looking down the street of where our hotel was. And so a few faces so that you can have an idea of who we worked with. This is Dave Karg. He was the SIF contact that they worked with. He was our in-country guide. He was our in-country guide, driver, translator. He did many things for us. His background, he's done many different kinds of jobs. He used to work as a security guard at a mine. He's fluent in Dutch, English, and Suriname Tongo, so he was invaluable on the trip. He's of Dutch descent, which is kind of important so that we can recognize just the legacy of how different people in Suriname interact with one another. And his current status, I wrote inactive because we're currently not working with him right now, just because we don't have as much going on in the country, and we're mostly working with another one of our contacts named Guido Bornick. Another face that's important to know is Kenneth Solomon. He's our local community contact. He doesn't live in the community, but his family has historically lived in the community. He was elected by the community to represent them for this project that they're partnering with EWB, and he's also fluent in Dutch, Suriname. He's mostly fluent in English. And we're still working with him because he is the community elected representative, so he's our contact with the community in Suriname. And so getting to this community, it takes about 3 to 6 hours depending on road conditions. It was about 50 to 60 miles on a dirt road with lots of potholes. And it was dry mostly when we went there, so the trip went relatively fast. If it was wet, it would be considerably more difficult to navigate and to get to the community. And when it is wet, it can prohibit drills. It can prohibit any heavy equipment getting to the community, including drills, large water trucks, and any other kind of large transportation that would possibly need to get there. And that's important because in later stages of this project, if we're thinking about trying to get a drill in there to do any sort of boreholes or anything like that, we need to be cognizant of that. Again, so I'm going to show you this map periodically throughout this talk so that we can really get an idea of the geography and know where we're going. So we're going to start at Quackenbrone right now. And so we stayed in this community from the 17th through the 19th, and the kind of summary of the things that we completed in this community. We met with Department of Natural Resources representatives. We met with Iron Gold. They came to the community as well. And we had a few community meetings with Commissars Condré and Quackenbrone.
And you haven't mentioned what Iron Gold is.
Oh, okay, yes. I am gold.